I'm Kyle.
Apparently I'm Kyle, too.
Yeah, well, no, you're Kyle, but not Kyle 2. There's no Kyle 2, no second Kyle.
Listen, man. We're both Kyles. We're here for adventure, and we want to show you guys what we have explored.
And what have we explored today?
We saw some sand.
A lot of
sand.
A lot of sand.
But it was quite fun.
Yes, if by fun you mean lots of sand is super fun. Unless, did I take any before that?
You don't have to go photo by photo, dude.
No, I know, I'm just saying.
Because there's a lot of sand in all of these photos.
It's a lot of sand. I guess the first thing we should probably do, we should answer all those like who, what, where, when, why, and how questions. So, where is it that we went to go? We went to the Guadalupe...
Who?
Who? Oh, yeah, you gotta start with who.
Are the AdventureKyles.
We are the AdventureKyles.
We had an adventure lady with us too. She was an honorary Kylette, I guess, but that was my girlfriend's sister. So she lives up in Slough, and we were up in that area. So this where is the Guadalupe Nipomo sand dunes.
It's in central to northern-ish California. It's called Guadalupe Nipomo Park.
So that's where our destination was. Why were we there? Well, that is the question of the day, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It turns out that a long time ago, and insert year number right about now, the guy named Cecil B. DeMille made a movie called The Ten Commandments. Cecil. I'm really bad at
Cecil
names.
B. DeMille.
Cecil B. DeMille made a movie called The Ten Commandments, and it was one of those really big, like, blockbuster production type movies where they made a giant temple for the set. So there were no, like, you know, super special effects in that. I mean, they did make some, like, illusionary fire and things.
Not only temples, though, we had huge sphinxes that were constructed. What was it, 22 of them or something like that?
Yeah, it's something between 10 and 20 of these things were out there. And the idea is that back then, movie production costs and stuff like that were really high, and you took pride in, like, the work that you did. And you didn't want other people to just steal it. Kind of like how most things go today. You know, if you make music or you make art, you don't want people just stealing it. So, usually what people will do is they'll take down their movie sets. But Cecil B. DeMille, he had a lot of people, and he had a very unique idea.
And so basically he was like, screw you. He's like, no one's going to use my set because this is an amazing movie. It's going to be one of a kind. And so what did he do? No, I'm just kidding. He didn't flatten it, but he buried it.
That'd be cool.
So.
Also, I got a little like, whoa. So yeah, no, he took all the like hundreds and hundreds of people that were on his movie set, all the extras and stuff, and he basically handed him a shovel and said, "Start undigging, bury the set." And so the idea is that he buried the movie set so nobody else could steal it and shoot their own, like, you know, really cheap films using his high-cost, you know, set that he did. And it's just been buried out there in the Guadalupe
had,
Dunes.
like, what? It was one of the it was a record-breaking amount of real people in this film, too, in terms of live action and not using anyone as a supplemental CGI in the background to create these huge hordes of people. It was actually a large amount of individuals involved.
Right.
When we were going through this, the whole point was us trying to figure out, okay, well, we had to put ourselves in the mindset of this director. So what is Cecil thinking? What is he going to do? Where is he going to locate this? So we had to use that to try and find this location. And what we think, and we have some pretty hard evidence saying that we are actually at the location that he was present at and where they shot. But there's a lot of this area that it's sandy, it's hilly and stuff, but you can definitely tell it's like there's a beach near it, and there's other things on either side of where we are. But the final destination where we ended up, when you sink down, when you're down below it, because how big was the structure? Like 80 feet high?
Yeah, it's like 80 feet tall.
So it's like 80 feet high, so you have to have something that's buriable, if that's a word. It has to be buried in the sand, and that has to cover its entire structure and then some to hide it. So when we found this location, we were down inset in basically this, like, I'll call it a gully of sand, and you spin around 360 degrees, and I'll show you in a shot coming up in just a second, that it looks like Egypt. It looks like we're in Egypt because we can't see anything else. There's no other point of reference out further from us. So it's kind of it was a really smart thing that he did, at least.
It was a very good optical, like, illusion, and not really even illusion. It was just a really great, like, choice of scene, like, where to shoot at. And we have a couple of like photos and videos and things like that where you can kind of compare it to shots in the movie, and it'll look similar. There's one part of the coastline that I was specifically looking for when we were going out there as kind of like a landmark, because the coastline doesn't really change all that much over, what, 90 years I think it's been since it.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, the movie set's been out there for a long time, so we were looking for things that don't change, and the thing that I was looking for most was that bit of coastline that, you know, you see just for like a split second or two, again, from all these shots. And we actually found that like same coastline, so we knew we were in the right place. Whether or not we got next to or we're standing on top of the temple, that words. That's the thing that we were really trying to like zero in on, is where was the temple, because we wanted to find like the sphinxes and find all these kind of artifacts and things like that. So
you guys may be asking yourself now, it's like, okay, well, where did we find this? If you're just gonna go like trudge through the desert. And well, we had certain clues that we were looking for too.
That's right.
There was a specific material, escaping my mind right now. There it is. Okay. This material was used to, basically, it's a plaster-like cement. And it's meant for large-scale productions and set production, set design. But you can break it. It's concrete that you can break with your hands, and we found a ton of that. Like surrounding the hill that we were standing on that we think the temple is buried. The locals know where it is, but they're not going to tell anyone. They don't want people coming around, so we did the back-breaking work for you guys to look for it.
The thing that about the locals and how we knew like that we were in the right area, basically we did a lot of research beforehand, and I found out things like the locals call this dune that we're looking for, they call it the unmoving sand dune, and it's because, you know, when winds kick up and rain, you know, comes down and stuff like that, sand shifts around, and it'll move around all these different, you know, sections of this park that you're in. But the one spot that stays, you know, pretty much solid where it is what they call the unmoving dune. And it's because on top of just burying the set, it was rumored that Cecil B. DeMille, can we just call him Cecil at this point? I think we know him well enough.
Yeah,
Okay, so we'll just call him Cecil. So Cecil,
he's our friend now.
Cecil Seashells at the seashore for that. So something like that. I'm really bad at tongue twisters. He actually went to even greater lengths than simply burying the set, because he knew that people could, you know, potentially dig it out. He actually covered it in a layer of that material, and we actually found a few pieces of it, or actually broke it off because there was plenty of it, and I'm gonna hold it up to the camera here a little bit. So let me, I guess, just hold it up there. I'm gonna actually look at the camera for this part because I want to make sure that you can see it. So here we go, right there, and just hold it still, let it do its magic. There it is. So this is the yeah, let me turn it to the side there. It's a real thin material, and this is kind of like at the edges of it.
This is just a flake that we pulled off.
Right, and it's super flat on the one side there, and then on the top of it's a little bit more rough. Basically what they did is once they buried it, they went to the top and had like all these, you know, trucks basically dump all this material down the hillside there and just cover it. And that had like the kind of, I don't know if it was an unintended consequence, but it's just like a side effect, that the sand there in that spot didn't go anywhere. It kind of like anchored it in place, so that's why they call it the unmoving dune.
And we found hard evidence also, in addition to this conglomerate of sorts, we found a railroad spike. And it was, upon doing our research, here we go. Upon doing our research too, we found that there are some remnants left over, and we were lucky enough to actually find a railroad spike.
It's not really a railroad spike. This is one of those really big, like,
set spike,
nails, essentially.
Spike, yeah.
You use the giant, like, mallets to hit that one in. It's definitely an old piece. You can tell just from all the wear and tear on it that it's a really, really old piece.
It's definitely from what we looked at and from what we researched, we gotta guess it's like this had to have been around the same time, and if we really got that lucky and we found something from this set that was used, I mean, like,
now that we kind of like have talked about, you know, how we got there and what we were looking at and stuff like that, and how we think this is the right place. I mean, we found, you know, that spike there. We found some of the material. And it's like we're going to have to pause every time we say that because we just can't remember the name of it. But we actually, that wasn't the end of our adventure. When we got to the sand dunes, we walked around and we think we found the spot. We actually continued on from there because we wanted to double check, because there were possibly 2 locations that this movie set could be at. What strikes you as very different about this section compared to where we were at originally? I mean, because this is the second location we went to.
Well, so if you look at the back, see how I said that the dunes and stuff were overgrown? Well, these were a lot smaller, too. There was a very well-paved and well-formed trail leading to this place. It was actually a wooden bridge that you had to cross, and the whole place was wooden, lined with wooden planks and stuff, leading you here. Oh, this is a nature preserve and stuff. This is definitely not ideal for a movie set if it's that commercially accessible. So,
well, I mean, not necessarily like that. That might not necessarily be the thing that factors into that. Because remember, this was 90 years ago. That bridge might not have even been built then.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's too close. And,
right.
Like, you have a lot of people walking through here, regardless of whether the bridge.
There's a lot more. Built. There was a lot more like human activity in the area, because I guess it's a much more well-known like area in general. But the thing that struck me most about this section is that there was a lot more vegetation here. I mean, you like almost every like hill had tons and tons of grass and things on it, whereas with the other park that we went to, the one that was about 10 minutes. Well, we spent maybe 10 minutes away from it.
I think it was like 15 minutes. I don't know if you can see. It's like down, like on the top of the picture. Like we were way back there.
Yeah. I mean, it's way out in the distance, in other words. But the point is, the sand dunes that we went to at the first location, they were sand dunes. I mean, legitimately. This is kind of like, I don't know. It didn't feel like you were in Egypt so much as just like in a weird place of California. I mean, it didn't make you think that like if you went over the next hill, you're going to find the Great Pyramids or something like that.
It was kind of just a beach.
Yeah, it was just a beach. Yeah, it felt like a beach. California has hundreds of them, so they're all pretty...
Thousands, millions, billions.
Countless numbers of beaches. All of them. We have all of them. I'm sorry, the rest of the world. We have acquired all of your beaches, and we took them here.
No, we didn't.
No! Bad acting. Alright, so... I mean, at this location, we had some fun with it. We ran around on the bridge, and we took some photos and things like that. And then when we got to the end of that little pathway for this like national park or whatever it is,
nature preserve, I believe.
Nature preserve, right?
It is a point of interest. So,
we both stood up on.
What? It's a point of interest. See?
Yeah. There's a. It actually does say points of interest. It says points, plural. There's more than one point there of interest. When we got to the end there, we both climbed up on the railing, and that in itself was kind of fun because this Kyle here, he's the athletic one between us. Let's get that straight. I know I've got these really impressive and intimidating guns, but I mean...
Get the tickets while you can. They're still on sale.
On sale? First come, first serve, thank you. So, he jumps up on the rail, and I basically crawl up it, and then like...
God, it's like watching paint dry. I'm like, come on, get up, baby steps, baby steps. Granted, we're not supposed to be on this rail anyway, but I'm
get over it. I'm not very good on balancing.
We didn't break anything, we didn't do anything, so sue me.
We were just walking around. And so, he had to actually walk over to where I was, because I wasn't going to walk over... Wait, no, did I walk over to you?
I made you walk over.
Yeah, that's right. He made me walk over to him, and
after like 14 minutes. No, it wasn't. Really
it was
like
probably like
a
10,
legitimate like 3 minutes of him trying to get up and get across.
Felt like 10. I'm not very good at balancing. I'm great on solid ground, sort of. So I mean, you'll see a video of him walking around and basically making a fool of me. But yeah, so we had some fun with that, and we saw some pelicans. That were there. It's like big, like flock, a flock of pelicans, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a
gaggle
of geese
or a
murder of crows.
I was gonna say a herd of moose, and I was like, why did that pop?
Herd of meese. It's a herd of meese, if I remember correctly.
That's a terrible name. But I don't know why. Of all things, we were talking about birds and all sort of flight-bearing creatures. I'm rambling. I don't know what I'm talking about. Right.
Welcome to AdventureKyles. It's the rambling edition. We basically had some fun at that last moment there. I mean, we kind of knew at this point that we'd found the location, and that this was kind of just extra icing on the cake for us, and also because we wanted to be sure. But I mean, we got there, and within a few seconds of looking around, we were like, yeah, this is not the right place. Alright, everybody, that's all the time that we have for today. We'll eventually probably revisit this adventure, because we have plans to go back there and actually do a little bit of digging around, more or less, to see if we can find one of the Sphinxes, because that's what we were really after more than anything else.
Want to find one.
He really wants to find one. So we'll come back to this one, but that's all the time that we have for today. Like us on Facebook, follow us on there, because that's where we keep up, like, what we're doing, what we're up to.
You want to see cool pictures that I take too? Follow Instagram.
That's right, and we have a little bit of a competition going on between us over that right now. So we're trying to see which of us is more effective at it. It's me. Alright, so share, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff if you want to. But for now, I guess that's the end of our adventure for today. One last thing I wanted to do, because we had kind of fun with this. The word of the day. I want to make this like a thing, if we can.
Alright.
Today's word of the day. What do you think it should be?
Buriable.
Undiggable? I'm gonna say undiggable.
Oh, that sounds like 2 words. I made a buriable.
All right, well then I'll make it the one that we couldn't remember what it was. It was gunite. The word of the day,
okay.
Gunite.
Gunite.
So,
whether it is or is not that substance, the word of the day is gunite.
Yeah, we have no idea whether that's right or not, because we don't think so now.
Contact your local pool supply store and ask them more about it.
Yeah!